Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is Ken Varga. I just love doing these webinars and sharing with you, the different strategies on how to build up prospects and turn them into customers. Uh, as all of you know, prospecting is the key to success in the industry itself. Now, I want you to have a paper and pencil handy, but to take notes. But don't worry, because in about a week or so, you're going to get a link to the webinar so that you can watch it in your leisure. Uh, I also want you to hold off your questions, or you can type your questions in the question boxes down below. But I'm going to go over three things. Uh, the new strategy on LinkedIn on how to get at least 20 new prospects per month using these techniques. I'm also then going to go into my new training program. As many of you have asked me to develop a training program to help you all double your business over the next year. So I'm going to go over that with you. And then lastly, I've asked John Davern, a virtual VA talent, to go over some stuff with you and to make you an offer I feel you can't refuse. But when John gets on, he'll go over a high value state strategy that I know you'll also love hearing about. So stay with us for the full hour, and you're going to get a lot out of this webinar. So let's just start right now. I want to tell you that this is a webinar is about key strategies to create 20 new prospects per month using LinkedIn. Here's just a little bio of John Davern and myself. So when you get the link, if you want to look at the bio, if you really don't even know about us already, take a look at it. Anyway, LinkedIn is a goldmine for prospecting because people use LinkedIn to maintain their professional identity. They make useful contacts, they search for opportunities, and they stay in touch. I don't know if you know, but 4 out of 5 LinkedIn members drive business decisions on LinkedIn, and 39% of the members are senior level executives and above. But 28% of members are responsible for managing budgets. They're the ones that make the decisions to utilize your services and to pay you. But LinkedIn members are active, influential professionals in a business frame of mind. They use LinkedIn to learn about new products and services, keep up with industry trends, research companies, network with peers, and conduct business. 83% of LinkedIn users, by the way, do not visit Pinterest. 59% of LinkedIn users do not visit Google+. 58% of LinkedIn users do not visit Twitter. And 13% of LinkedIn users do not visit Facebook. Just wanted to tell you that. Anyway, LinkedIn is a powerful network with 400 million professionals who are also consumers. And Facebook and LinkedIn, I mean, you can just see the difference and the disparity, but recent studies show LinkedIn members have the highest buying power compared to other social networks. Understanding your connections and effect on your ability to communicate with LinkedIn is very important. Just want to go over the 3 different degrees that are on LinkedIn. The first degree are people you're directly connected to because you've accepted their invitation to connect, or they've accepted your invitation. You can contact them by sending a message on LinkedIn. For those of you who don't have the links for the webinar that we did on connection messages, and for individuals who are requesting that you join them, let me know and I'll send you the link that you can watch in your leisure on how to do that. Again, my email is kenpbg, peterboygirl @aol.com. But your second degree level are people who are connected to your first degree connections. And you can send them an invitation by clicking on connect or contact them through an email. And lastly, your third degree people are connected to your second degree connections. If their first and last names are displayed, you can send them an invitation by clicking connect. If only the first name and their last name is displayed, clicking connect is not an option, but you could still contact them through an email. Okay, key strategies to help to convert LinkedIn connections into prospects. You have to optimize your LinkedIn profile because as you do the connection requests and as you do what I'm going to be showing you, people are going to click on your profile. So your headline should be right there and a summary of what you're going to get, how they're going to benefit by talking to you should be right there in your profile. I've looked at many profiles on LinkedIn and they are really, really just blah. So there's nothing that jumps out at you, at the person looking at it. So the key thing when John goes over virtual assistant talent and shows you some of the stuff that virtual assistant could do, they could do your profile to make it really exceptional and unique in itself. You want to build your first level connections, join LinkedIn groups, create your own LinkedIn group, keep your profile alive and engaging, and just do a whole bunch of other things that are important. Here's the additional techniques now that I'm going to show you. The first one is doing endorsements. In a previous webinar, I covered how to connect with others on LinkedIn. And again, if you want those links, let me know. Once someone accepts your connection request on LinkedIn, we then send them a connection acceptance thank you message in which you thank them for connecting with you. And again, I've covered this in a previous webinar, which I'll send you a link if you don't have it. Now, as a next step, you should endorse your connections. To access your connections, you click on My Network and then click on Connections. This will display the number of connections you have and invitations you've received and people you may know. Under your connections, click See All. Under Sort By, select Recently Added. This is typically already selected by default, but this will display all your connections sorted by the most recently added. Then you click on a connection's name to bring up their profile. Your new connections profile page will now appear as it shows below. You will need to scroll down to get to their skills and endorsement section. You will see the skills for which you can endorse. You just simply click on Show More to see additional choices, or click on the plus sign on one or more skills to endorsement. The plus sign will change to a check mark indicating you've already endorsed them for that talent. I always do a maximum maybe 2 or 3 endorsements, and that's about it. You then want to repeat this process with the rest of your recently added connections. Again, you click on My Network at the top to return to your network, and then under your connection, See All. And then you select the next connection and repeat the previous process to endorse the latest connections on your list. Now the connections you endorse will receive a notification from LinkedIn that they've been endorsed by you. The notification indicator will have the number of new notifications. Do you see it on the top in black? I've circled it in red. It has a number 1 on it. And a certain number of connections you'll endorse, by the way, will thank you for the endorsement by clicking the Say Thanks icon as you see it on the left-hand side, which will then send you a thank you message. This is important because the whole process of everything that I teach you is to bond with the individual, to give different ways for them to communicate with you so that it leaves the door open to build a relationship for prospecting. In your top level menu, you'll see a notification of a new message on the message icon. You click on messaging icon and see the person's thank you message in response to your endorsement. See the messaging on the top? It's right next to the notification button. You click on their message, then type a message in response to their thanking you for the endorsement, then click Send. Here's the message that I use. Hi, Jane. The endorsement was my pleasure. The greatest endorsement I could give you would be a referral. Please let me know who your ideal referral would be. All right, I hope you're writing that down. And if not, again, you're going to get a link for playing it back. All right. Endorsements can be seen on a profile page by scrolling down to the featured skills and endorsements section of the profile. You can click any of your listed skills to see who has endorsed you for that skill. You could also add a new skill to give others additional skills. You could do up to 50, by the way. By default, endorsements are visible, but you can slide the button from the left to make the endorsement from a particular person not visible. Here's another technique that I'm going to go over. It's called the birthday message. Again, you go to notifications of anyone in your network, and you'll see who has started a new position, is having a work anniversary milestone, is having a birthday, or if they liked one of your postings or commented on your group conversations. In this case, we want to message those with upcoming birthdays. If multiple connections are having a birthday, by the way, on the same day, you click see who's celebrating. And for the individuals, click say happy birthday for underneath their name. Do you see on the right-hand side? In cases of multiple birthdays on the same day, after clicking see who's celebrating, it'll show your connections who have birthdays on the same day. Again, you select one and click say happy birthday. All right, see down below it says happy birthday. Do you see down there? You highlight that, and now you can type the message in. Down below is my birthday message. I say, I would like to wish you a happy birthday. The greatest gift I can give you would be a referral. Please let me know who your ideal referral would be. And then you just send it. After you click happy birthday, that's when you start to build a relationship with them. You know, most of the time you'll get a message from them telling you who their ideal referral would be. So whether it's endorsement, whether it's the connection message, if anybody sends you a message telling you who their ideal referral is, you now send them a message telling them when you see someone like that, you will refer them to them. Or you could go to their profile, and this is a way you could go to set up a face-to-face connection, and you click on see contact info to see their contact info, and you give them a call if their phone number's there or their email. And you simply say, thank you for letting me know who your ideal referral is. Why don't we get together for a cup of coffee and I can find who else would be an ideal referral for you. Again, I have found that 5 out of 10 individuals that this has been done have been setting up that appointment for a cup of coffee. And again, you're sitting down there, they're going to ask you, what do you do? So I hope you have your elevator pitch ready to tell them. Now we're going to go over congratulation message. Again, you want to look in the notification, and it'll show connections that are celebrating a change in job, a milestone in their career. You scroll down to find any notifications indicating the person started a new position or is celebrating an anniversary at an existing company. Those notifications will have a say congrats below the notification. All right, so you want to click on say congrats. Then you want to highlight the default congrat message, body text, so you highlight it, and now you type in your own personal message. You don't want to use the default message. So you just say, my congratulations. The greatest congratulation gift I can give you would be a referral. Please let me know who your ideal referral would be, and then send it. Just with these 3 additional items, the endorsements, birthday, and congrat message, I get, and also individuals that are in my training program tell me they're getting over 44% response rate. On average, my subscribers tell me they get out of 20 new prospects per month doing these 3 new things. Remember, everybody's on LinkedIn for one reason only, to get referrals and build relationships. With our messages, we have just opened the door for them to bond with us again. Remember, it's all about building a relationship. There's times I sound like an old dog constantly going over this, but remember, I created over 6 million customers in my career. All right, 98% of them were all direct mail where I never met the individual. but and it was before the internet. All right. So, and the reason I did all this here and how I did it was I built a relationship with them where I was in front of them at least once a month. In the training program, in the first module, I go over the critical emails that I've used uh, after I followed up with their messages to build that relationship and bond with them. So when I go over the training program, you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so let's go over the training program, which is Build Your Practice Fast. And again, if you're struggling to bring your business to the next level, that's what we can do here. If you're worried about competition, and if you're disturbed about clients going directly from your competition, it's time to transform your life. The program I will share with you will double your income within the next 12 months. You're going to retire in a lifestyle you want, and you become a part of the top 1% within the next 5 years. And you're about to discover, by the way, how you can use my secrets to end your worries and frustrations and to build your $1 million business or career quicker and easier than your greatest expectations. The Build Your Practice training program, you're going to have access to my wealth of knowledge from years of experience where I spent millions of dollars of my own money to perfect these strategies and success on how to build your practice and agency fast. Here's what you get, by the way. You get 42 training modules, PDF. By the way, you want your printer to have at least a lot of paper because there's over 1,700 pages of typing. So there's 42 training modules. And you also get an MP3 audio download that you could listen in your leisure when you're laying on a beach, when you're driving in your car, if the cars now have the MP3s. If not, you can hook it up to your iPad or what have you. But you get 40 hours of pre-recorded coaching calls on key topics pertinent to building your practice or agency. This is exactly what I have done in the coaching calls. And I've had individuals ask me constant questions, and I've given them the secrets on how to overcome that. There's 42 comprehensive training manuals with downloads available. Here's just an example of some of them. The greatest sales secrets in turning quotes into sales. How to create a business plan, the amazing system for getting referrals from clients and people you meet every day. Individuals in the training program that have gone through this and implemented that strategy have said it's the best referral program, bar none, that they've ever seen in their life. But I'm going to show you also how to position yourself as the expert in your field, how to put your practice on autopilot. Turning existing clients into advocates will bring in new business for you. Learning the 20% that generate 80% of your income. How to create an effective website and use it to create qualified leads. So that's a little bit of what it is. But the coaching calls, some of the topics I've covered in the past are the power of autoresponders and the magic of email. What I recommend to do with generated leads and getting referrals. How to work with the virtual assistant to build your database. The fascinating tricks to profit from LinkedIn and meetup groups. Make it an elevator pitch that will get you appointments. How to create the ideal prospect and follow up with them every single month. The 7 points of contact and what to do when you get a no. How to work your way around certain LinkedIn changes and how to get the ADA formula to work for you. Here's a sneak peek inside the training platform. It is divided into 13 sections, with each section having a general theme and multiple modules within each section. As an example, section 1 is all about list building and how to make your database work for you. And the second module is how to turn your clients into advocates who will automatically bring in new clients for you. And you can see the 13 sections down below and then the coaching call to the right. But under module 1, when you click on it, you're going to download module 1, the PDF file. You can see it down below on the right. And also to download the MP3 folder. I would suggest everybody create a Ken Varga folder on their desktop and just move these right into there so that whenever you want to go access them, you'll have them immediately. But I'm going to also give you, there's a section 13 tab, which is the coaching calls, which are all pre-recorded on key topics pertaining to building your business. Here's some testimonials that people have said to me about the past. Take a minute and read it. This one's from Brian Tracy. All of you know Brian, and Brian has nothing but accolades for what I've done in the past. And so take a moment and just read that. All right, and here's one from Mark Victor Hansen, the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. He wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul with Jack Canfield. And you could see in the second line who actually has spent a lifetime and millions of dollars that I use to test everything in this training program. And that's why when I go over the guarantee with you, I know it'll create prospects and customers for you. Here's Dan Kennedy. Some of you have heard of Dan Kennedy. I just want to tell you that in the third paragraph, where Dan says I make so much money that the IRS has a person in Washington to try to figure out how to get more taxes out of me. He was just being facetious at the time. So anyway, let's go on. So your investment is only $497, and you get full access to the 42 training modules, 40 hours of coaching calls, and you get started on growing your revenues by clicking on the button below. But here's my guarantee. I personally guarantee that after 1 year from the purchase date, and you've implemented my strategies in this training program, if you don't get at least one new client customer, which I feel if you just get one customer, your investment is repaid, but if you don't, I'll return your full investment. All you have to do is show me that you've implemented the strategies in each module, and I could show you on the phone, perhaps you made an error on implementation and what have you, because my whole objective is to help you create more customers. So I personally guarantee that if after 1 year from purchase date and you implemented my strategies, I'll return your full investment if you haven't got at least one new client or customer. By the way, there's 2 bonuses that I'm going to give you to the top first 50 purchase that invest in the program. You can have a personal coaching call with me, 1 hour call. I charge $5,000 for an hour. And people are very willingly paying me for this, by the way. But also, there's going to be a webinar that has a $350 value on how to successfully outsource and manage your first virtual assistant. So the total value of bonuses are over $5,000. John Davern has a special bonus. He's going to go over on the outsourcing, but it goes into the best methods to successfully delegate tasks to a virtual assistant, the common pitfalls of outsourcing and how to avoid, and the best project management and communication tools. Again, a value of $350. Here's the link to go to right now. Write it down and go to it and check it all out. It's https://buildyourpracticefast.com. And in case any of you are in network marketing or business owners that aren't in the insurance industry that somehow got the message here, here's the training program links for the Build Your Business Fast and also your downline fast. Now I want to go over, and I'll have John Davern come on in a moment, on hiring a virtual assistant, and you're really going to be excited about this. All right, but here's some important tips. You're better off making sales than doing the techniques and tasks that I mentioned in my last webinars. The connection messages, the meetup welcome messages, and LinkedIn endorsements, birthdays, congrats messages. You really want to hire a virtual assistant to do this for you. A VA spending a few hours a day could send your connection messages, meetup welcome messages, send LinkedIn endorsement, birthdays, congrats messages, set up appointments for you. And the benefits of using LinkedIn, by the way, it's an inexpensive way of building your pipeline and building your community. You get more prospective clients by joining groups and sending new connections. Systematic way of doing lead generation and increase in referrals from your new connections. According to all of my subscribers, they are getting up to a 44% response rate just on the endorsement and birthday and congrats message. For example, if you send out 100 messages per month, you'll get up to 44 prospects to present your product or service to. This is so unheard of within the industry itself. All right. I've been using virtual talent for many years and found them to be very useful. VAs can help you grow your network by helping create and optimize your LinkedIn profile for searchability. Again, that profile is key because when you send them a message and they click on your profile, you got to have it ready to jump out at them. And you want to have a VA to send out your connection messages, searching LinkedIn groups for you to join, posting interesting articles, sending appointments for you to manage your calendar, creating and sending out newsletters, managing your contacts and email marketing, updating your website content, blog, managing your social media marketing campaigns and accounts, increasing your website traffic and search ranking, and more. VAs create prospects for you to present your product and services to. Now I'm going to ask John Davern to step in just to go over and make you an offer you can't refuse, because I know you're going to love how to do this. John, welcome back.
Hey, thanks, Ken. Thanks for having me on the call, and pleasure to be with everybody today. So Ken has been using our services for probably 4 or 5 years, and this technique, in terms of LinkedIn marketing, is something that I learned from Ken. He was having one of the virtual assistants do this task, and I can tell you that this technique is something that has stood the test of time for me and for my business, and has consistently delivered and gotten prospects for me for my business. My experience, my background was in human resources, and I've worked in HR for 20 plus years and hired thousands of people, trained thousands of people. I got started in the virtual assistant business actually when I started investing in real estate, and this is back when I had a regular full-time job working in HR and wanted to invest in real estate, and attended a seminar that showed how to utilize a virtual assistant to help find you real estate deals. And so one of the first things that I did was hired a virtual assistant to do a repetitive task of posting ads on Craigslist indicating that I was interested in buying properties. And it was a time-consuming task, but repetitive nature of it and the number of ads that I had out there eventually resulted in me getting my first few real estate deals with the help of the virtual assistant. And from that, people started asking me, hey, can you help me also get a virtual assistant? And that evolved into my company, Virtual Assistant Talent LLC, which specializes in providing virtual assistants from the Philippines. And the reason why Philippines is Philippines, they speak English and are taught English in school and speak it fluently. And that was the founding of my business back in 2009. And so since then, I've hired and trained hundreds of virtual assistants and placed them with business owners. For insurance agents, one of the things, insurance agents, like other entrepreneurs, I was reading a article in Inc. magazine, and it talked about business owners, small business owners, entrepreneurs, how they work typically. In some cases, when you're trying to grow your business or build your office, work 60 plus hours per week. And so my whole goal with virtual assistant talent is to help people achieve a better work-life balance and take a look at what tasks that they're doing, and is it something that can be outsourced so that all the work does not fall on you. Now, in terms of LinkedIn process flow, what Ken went over today, we've done other webinars that have covered other topics with LinkedIn. So I wanted to just kind of show you from a process flow, big picture of a strategy for LinkedIn that you can use. So as Ken talked before about your LinkedIn profile, the importance of having a robust LinkedIn profile is you want to clearly show what type of benefit that you can bring to others in terms of professionally connecting with them? What is your areas of expertise? What are the products and services that you offer? And so you want to make sure that you have a good profile, so when people are searching for people to connect to, they understand what your business is and how that you can help them, whether it's connecting them to other people or if they might have interest in your products or services. Similarly, when you are connecting with people on LinkedIn, you want to be looking for people that are either going to be referral partners, so people that can refer business to you, or they are key influencers. Those are people that are experts in their industry, that have a big following or connected with a lot of people, that can put you in touch with referral partners, or lastly, potential customers. And those are people, if you look at their profile, could be people that are interested in your products or services. So for example, for insurance agents, if anybody is there's such a wide range of people that could be your customer base. If they're in real estate, they could be a referral partner, whether it's residential or commercial policies. If it's a business owner, it could be business liability policies. So LinkedIn is a tremendous hub of potential customers for you. So when you're looking at making connection requests, you want to make sure that they're strategic, that they're going to be falling into those categories. Now, connection requests can be outbound from you, where you can search on LinkedIn and look for people who may be prospects for you to connect to that are referral partners or potential customers. Or they may be inbound to you, where people, the more people that you connect with, eventually you'll start seeing that you have a ton of inbound connection requests to you. And whether when you're receiving those connection requests and you accept them, or if you are making outbound requests and people accept that request, the messaging that you deliver to those people makes the difference between them becoming a prospect or just another connection that sits there and doesn't do a whole lot for you necessarily, or doesn't have the full potential of what a connection could do for you. So for example, when you make an outbound connection request and somebody accepts that request, you send them a thank you message. And Ken has covered this in detail on other calls. And the connection message is thanking them for accepting you into their network. But there's some particulars about that I'm going to cover in the next piece here about the thank you message and what you should include. Similarly, if it's an inbound message to you and you accept that, after that, you will thank them for asking to join their network. So in other words, they send you a connection message, you thank them for asking to join the network. And there's some particulars that you want to include, whether it's a thank you message or a request to join message. The message key components are as follows. And this is something that makes the difference between that person becoming a potential prospect or just a number in terms of one of your LinkedIn connections that doesn't necessarily result in the full potential. The first thing that you should include in the messaging is your value proposition. So how your product or service can solve their problems or improve their situation better than the competition. You just want to have a short piece in your message when you thank them for accepting them into the network. You briefly explain your value proposition. The second thing that you want to include in your messaging is an offer to help. And you kind of seen this in the messaging that Ken had earlier today in the webinar, that you're offering to provide referrals. Let me know what type of person would be an ideal referral for you. The third thing is inviting them to join your LinkedIn group. Now, you may not have a LinkedIn group, but this is something that if you don't have the time to do it or don't know how to do it, this is something that a virtual assistant can easily do for you. The importance of having your own LinkedIn group is this allows you to be a key influencer in your area. So for example, if you're a insurance agent in your particular geographic area, you could create a group specific to that geographic area and let people know different things related to, key mistakes that people make when purchasing an insurance policy, things that they may leave out with that. So posting useful content in that LinkedIn group, initiating thought-provoking discussions, challenges, or pain points. So for example, it could be an incident where somebody failed to have a particular coverage and a disaster hit and they weren't covered. And so initiating thought-provoking discussions and challenges, then responding with solutions and gently insert your value proposition. So this helps by creating this LinkedIn group and people joining this group, and you're posting useful content and you're initiating thought-provoking questions and solutions, people are going to want to come to you when they need your particular product or service. It helps to build your credibility and overall reputation. The other component is bliss building, opt-in. So the 4 key components, you want to make sure also in that messaging that you send out that you're offering somebody a free ebook or a free consultation or some sort of promo code or discount. So all these 4 key components should be in your message, whether you're thanking somebody who's accepted you into their network or somebody has requested to connect to you and you've received that connection request, and then you're responding with these 4 key components. Now, the way that you articulate these 4 key components will also make or break whether you get anything out of the messaging. So as an example, when I learned, Ken's techniques that he was doing in LinkedIn, and I implemented these techniques, I was doing something similar, but my messaging was not very good. I was not getting a good conversion rate. So I was sending it out, a high volume of these types of messages, but they were not converting. And when Ken talked about one of his bonuses related to his program that he talked about today, one of the most valuable things, was talking to Ken because I wasn't getting a good response on my messaging, and he took a look at that. We made some changes to it, and that made the difference between having a message that converts and one that doesn't. And again, Ken has in his business has generated over 6 million customers. So certainly having him look at that made a huge difference. And it made all the difference in the world in terms of just sending out a bunch of messages that didn't convert and an intervention and having something that converted. So when you get a positive response to this messaging, people are going to at some point be interested. Hey, yeah, sure, I'd like to talk, or I'd like to know more about your products or services. Then at that point, you want to do a follow-up. And that could be messaging them back to set an appointment, to do a phone call, and so forth, and following up on this. But this is kind of a high-level overview of a LinkedIn strategy of leveraging the connections that you have, communicating with those connections, and building a relationship. And the techniques that Ken showed today is just an additional supplement to, after you're connecting with people, you're giving them endorsements, you're sending birthday messages, and you're sending them congratulation message, strengthening that relationship. And again, also reminding them about the value add in terms of you being a connection to them. So the next on the next slide, when we look at the techniques that you learned today and some of the things we've shown on other calls, those are things that can be time-consuming tasks. And like anything, when you're running your business, you take a look at what work needs to be done to grow your business and what work needs to be done to run your business. So in terms of the whole business development side, I always take a look at what tasks that I can delegate to a VA. When I was working a full-time corporate HR job and I wanted to start my own business investing in real estate, it was very difficult because I was already working 55 plus hours per week. And then to start my business, that was just something very challenging for me because I had a corporate job, and if I'm posting all these ads and people are responding, well, I'm in meetings during the day. I can't respond to calls, and so that's something that I delegated to a VA to do. I didn't have the expertise to necessarily develop my own website, so that was something that I delegated to a virtual assistant to do. So you take a look at what work needs to be done to grow your business, and that could be product or service development. It could be creating your website, creating ads for Facebook or for LinkedIn. It could be creating a company logo. It could be doing marketing and lead generation activities. So having somebody do outbound telemarketing for you, calling business owners to solicit them or see if they would be interested in getting a quote. Online social media. If you have a website, there's all kinds of different things that you can do when people do a search for your particular business, that your website comes up on the Google in terms of the ranking, that it shows up on page 1 of Google. Getting web traffic, doing pay-per-click ads, doing whole email marketing campaigns. So do you have somebody to put out a monthly newsletter for you? That's something that for me, for my business, I work with my virtual assistant team, and I'll give them different types of ideas of articles to go out and research, and they create the content that we use for the newsletters. And then sales. So those are things that can be done to grow your business. And then look at what work needs to be done to run your business. And this is some of the busy work, but work that has to be done. And it could be accounting, it could be administrative, accounts payable, accounts receivable, bookkeeping. One of the things that I was doing for my business at one point was I was doing all the bookkeeping. And that would take hours and hours and hours, and getting everything ready for my taxes. And eventually, it's something that I assigned to one of the virtual assistants to do, and that saves me a lot of time so that I can focus on other activities. Human resources or recruiting activities. We've had insurance agents who are looking to build their team, and they've used our virtual assistants to post recruitment ads online and to set up appointments for interview with the insurance broker. Operations, order fulfillment, when somebody orders a product or service, who's going to follow up with that customer? And then IT and web administration. So these are things, when you take a look at that, you look at that and say, can this be done remotely or not? And if it can't be done remotely, then, well, you either have to do it personally, or you might need to hire an office worker, or you just don't do it. But most cases nowadays, a lot of things can actually be done remotely. And as I mentioned, I've worked in corporate human resources. I live here in Silicon Valley, and I can tell you that a lot of work that has been done traditionally in the office is now being done remotely. And largely a lot of that is because of all the tools that are now available that connect the workforce remotely and online. And those are communications and meeting tools such as GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, which we're using today, or Skype, which allows you to call anybody in the in the world that has an internet connection, and you can have a face-to-face online call. Document sharing, so Google Docs makes it very easy to share documents with others. Dropbox. There's also project management and collaboration tools such as Trello or Asana or Smartsheet, which multiple people can open up, for example, a spreadsheet at the same time, and you can have 2, 3, 5, as many people as you need to working on the same spreadsheet that updates all live in real time. So the tools that are available for connecting have just continued to evolve, and that makes it much easier in doing work remotely. I've had virtual assistants, they're Philippines based, so they're a time difference, but they work whatever schedule that their client needs. And we've had virtual assistants that answer phone calls for example, Southern California business during the regular business hours, and people who call would have no idea necessarily that it's somebody from overseas answering the phone. So it's just amazing how there's so much work now that can be done remotely. The next thing is, if you're going to assign a task to somebody to do you have the work instructions for the task or for the job? So if you don't, then you can just continue to do it personally, or you just don't do it. Or you can create work instructions, job description, hands-on training, video, written procedures. At one point, I was part of a network marketing business that also sold insurance and financial service types products. And one of the things that I did was I trained and showed the VA. I had step-by-step instructions that I created that they would go on Craigslist and all the different cities in the US and post a ad indicating that I was looking for people to join my team. And that was a repetitive task that was time consuming, but I took 30 minutes to an hour to document that and sit down with somebody to show them how to do it. And sometimes it's hard to do that because you're so busy, but I can tell you it's just amazing the amount of time that it would save. One of my VAs who's on the call today does my bookkeeping, and I can tell you how much time she has saved me by now doing my bookkeeping task when I was spending a ridiculous number of hours trying to keep track of that. And your time is valuable, and if you take a look at this different type of work, this allows you to scale your business much larger than maybe what you would be able to do if you were not delegating, and save you time, save you money, and increase your capacity. So that's kind of the decision-making process that I follow when looking what you can delegate to a VA. So next I'm going to talk about the LinkedIn task. And all this that we talked about today, the LinkedIn task, is just an example of how Ken, as an example, has mapped out pretty much the standardized work of a proven task that he's done in LinkedIn, and that he's assigned to a VA, or it's something that you could do yourself. Some of the basic tasks that VAs can do with LinkedIn is to do the initial LinkedIn account setup and make sure that your profile is complete, so that when people are searching for your type of product or service, or in terms of policies that you specialize in, that it's very easy for them to see that in your profile, and that you come up when they're searching for it, that your profile comes up in that way. Now, a repetitive task that VAs can do on a daily basis for you that's going to help increase your prospects. One thing that they can do is to join 2 LinkedIn groups per day that contains your potential client base. And so on a weekly basis, if they're joining groups on a daily basis, if you're joining over 10 groups per week, this is going to create exposure to you to a lot more people. And if you're part of somebody's LinkedIn group, it makes it a lot easier to connect and interact with them. So, and LinkedIn groups, not all of them are created equal. Some LinkedIn groups have a lot of activity and people are responsive. Others, people are not responsive. Well, that's something that a virtual assistant can monitor. And if one group's not really delivering for you, they can join another group. Another VA activity is that they can send connection messages, say up to 25 connection messages per day. On a weekly basis, that's 125 connection messages per week. If you total that out for a month, that's 500 connection messages that they've sent out on a monthly basis. And if you're sending that messaging using those 4 criteria, which I showed you on the previous slide, you're then increasing your chances that that person will, instead of just being a connection, being a potential prospect, for your business, for your services and products. So if only, for example, 3% of those people that you're connected with, out of those 5%, if only 3% have a positive response, that's 15 people. If it's 6%, that's 30. If it's 8%, that's 40. So when we talk about getting 20, 25 new prospects per month, that's somewhere between that 3 to 6% response rate. And then as people respond positively, the VA can go into your account and look up and see what positive responses that you've had, and then In some cases, you can even delegate to the VA to follow up, or you could then follow up yourself. So the LinkedIn tasks, these are something that, maybe if it were falling on you, this is something that you wouldn't take the time to do, but I can tell you it's a very valuable thing for me, and I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, and it's consistently delivered for me. Now, the messaging I've had to sometimes change or tweak, in some cases, when I'm sending certain connection messages or thank you messages, I've had to make some tweaks and adjustments to it. So if anything, if something's not working, you don't just keep doing it, you have an intervention. And that's, one of the main, key things that I've learned, with this. And certainly being connected with Ken and being previously part of Ken's coaching program was something that I benefit from by having Ken take a look at it, when things weren't working out or things that were delivering before stopped delivering. And so the whole idea in outsourcing certain work is to help transform your life and business and help you gain that work-life balance, a healthier lifestyle, sufficient sleep, reduce costs, increase revenue. It's amazing when you outsource something, for example, this LinkedIn task, and you're getting new prospects in your inbox that you can follow up on. So just very quickly here, in terms of if you're not familiar with virtual assistant services, my company's setup is pretty simple in terms of if you have a particular task that you want to outsource, whether it's a web design work, whether it's a LinkedIn task, whether it's somebody to answer your phone, whether it's somebody to post ads for you or to prospect or try to recruit for you. Basically, what my company does is you contact us, let us know what your need is. We can fit any particular type of budget, and then we then let you interview that particular talent that has the skill set that you need. You select that virtual assistant, you prepay the number of hours that you need for that VA to work, whether it's on a weekly or monthly basis, and as the virtual assistant works those hours, it gets deducted from a prepaid balance, and there's no particular type of ongoing commitment. If you don't use your whole balance, the remaining balance can get refunded. So there's two different types of VAs. There's non-technical VAs that do admin assistant or social media or content. Maybe they do blog writing for you. That starts at $8.20 per hour. And if you take a look here, you can prepay based on the needs of your business for a certain number of hours that you need that VA to work for you. Now, one thing I want to mention about the type of talent is, the unemployment rate right now is at all-time lows. So their competition for talent is high. And opening it up to virtual assistants just increases your talent pool widely. And it's not even comparing in terms of a person who makes minimum wage. And if you hired somebody as a minimum wage, person locally versus somebody overseas in the Philippines, $8.20 per hour, this person is typically a college degreed person that maybe has been a manager or a supervisor and has a wide amount of experience or area of expertise. So there's no comparison in terms of the type of talent that you can get versus if you paid this price point locally. For technical VAs, for web design, web maintenance, graphics, it starts at $11.20 per hour. And I can tell you, here in Silicon Valley, you can pay upwards to $100 an hour for somebody to do web design for you. So if you're interested in finding out how a virtual assistant can help you, you can give us a call. The website also is virtualassistanttalent.com. And I've got a promo code here that there's a $50 off promo code that you can use if you're signing up for the services as well. So next, would like to open it up for any type of questions that you may have. And there's two ways you can ask questions. One is through the questions panel. And then the other is if you raise your hand, we can unmute you and take a few questions here. So let's take a look at questions. Okay. So one person asked, and we talked about this, Ken mentioned it briefly, will the webinar be available for review later. Yes, so for anybody who has registered for the call, we're going to be sending out a link to the webinar replay, and likely that email will go out sometime next week. So here, do you know if there are any restrictions for a VA when it comes to regulated businesses? So in terms of regulated businesses, there may be certain aspects, and I don't know the specifics, but there may be certain things, certain types of follow-ups and interactions with clients and customers that you cannot have the VA do. I know, for example, also if you're part of a larger company, there may be restrictions in terms of what type of websites that you can have and what type of content that you may have on the websites. Those are things that can be worked out on a case by case basis. I have had, for example, insurance agents, real estate agents, there's regulations on what they can and cannot have on their websites, and restrictions based on their company. And we basically just, usually they instruct us of whatever guidelines they are. Ken, is there any comment that you would have on this one beyond that?
Well, no. Many of the individuals that are here have restrictions placed upon them from the various other aspects of what they can do or can't do. When we talk about regulatory, what we're talking about basically is that the individuals cannot do certain things, and it's the company's discretion that created these trials and tribulations. So anyway, but whatever they should find out themselves, what they can and cannot do, so that they can advise the virtual assistant on what they can do.
Yeah, and an example might be, let's say there's certain ad copy that you're restricted as far as what you can say in your ad copy. Well, once you have the ad copy that's been approved by your company, then the VA can do the repetitive task of doing the posting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or if you need a ad to be created, you can have the VA create the draft and then get approval from the company before you actually will post it. So let's see. We got another question here. Let's see. All right, that's from Jesse. Okay, all right. Thanks, Jesse. Okay, let's see. Any other questions? Last call here. Again, you can raise your hand or put it in the question panel. If not, we'll close out the call since we're just about out of time here. Let's see. Bill, okay. All right, so this was another question about from Bill, any chance that you're recording this? And yes, it's being recorded, and this will be emailed out to you, a link to the recording, likely by sometime next week. So, okay. Well, that is all the questions that we have, and we're just about out of time here. So, Ken, thanks again for having me on the call. Really enjoyed it, and it's been great, participating in your coaching calls that you've had in the past, and really appreciate everybody also being on the call.
Many individuals in the past have utilized your services, and all I do is get accolades from them on what your organization is accomplishing for them. So I hope that everybody at least takes advantage of your trial offer. But I want to thank everybody for being on the webinar, not seminar, webinar. See what happens when you turn 76? Anyway, I thank everybody. And again, if you have any questions or anything, email me at kenpbg, Peter Boy Girl, @AOL.com. Take care, everyone.